Now that you've learned about why the city adopted a green building ordinance, we can go over how to comply. For those of you who haven't watched the introductory video, click here to learn more about the city's Climate Action Plan. In this video, we'll go through how to fill out the Multifamily Climate Action Plan checklist, or CAP checklist. This checklist is required to be completed for all multifamily developments, including new developments, additions or alterations to existing multifamily buildings, and mixed-use developments that include multifamily residential uses. After reviewing the purpose of the checklist and checklist procedure on page 1, fill out your contact information and basic project details on page 2. Following this, select your project type from the list in the table shown on the screen. Once your project type is selected, refer to column 2 for the checklist sections that apply to your specific project. For new multifamily projects, you will need to complete sections 1, 2, 4B, and 5. New construction includes any existing building where more than 50% of the roof framing and exterior bearing walls or columns are removed, or any project where the conditioned area more than doubles. The sections required to be completed for additions or alterations will depend on the size and cost of the project. If the permit valuation is $50,000 or greater, Section 3 will be required. If the project is an addition to a high-rise multifamily building that adds 1,000 square feet or more, then 4A will be required. Please note that these requirements are in addition to all state code requirements related to energy efficiency and green building, which can be found in Part 6 and Part 11 of the Title 24 Building Code, respectively. Now let's review each section of the checklist in detail. Section 1, which covers voluntary measures, strongly encourages all-electric construction and introduces the Green Building Incentive Program. To construct all electrically, natural gas or propane plumbing should not be specified in the plan. A gas meter connection should also not be specified. Instead, the use of all electric appliances should be planned for. This means that electricity would be the source of all space heating, water heating, cooking appliances, clothes drying appliances, and pool heating for your project. If you choose this option, check the box for Voluntarily Comply. If you have designed the residence to use a mix of fuels, you would select Opt Out. Next, consider participating in the Green Building Incentive Program. This program provides financial incentive, priority plan check, and City Council recognition for projects that achieve certification through the Build It Green, Greenpoint Rated Program, or the U.S. Green Building Council's Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, or LEED program. Participating in the Green Building Incentive Program requires pre-approval. Check out the city's website for more information. Section 2 covers energy performance and electric readiness requirements. It specifies that all new low-rise multifamily buildings must exceed the state source energy performance requirements by at least 8%. This means that the building must use at least 8% less energy than allowed under the state energy code. Note that if you have a certified energy analyst perform your energy calculations, you will receive a 1% credit, which would reduce the requirement from 8% to 7% for your project. Note that low-rise multifamily buildings are defined as those that are 3 habitable stories or less. Additionally, all new buildings, which specify gas, plumbing, and appliances, must be designed and built for future conversion to electric appliances, meaning that electric wiring, receptacles, and panel capacity must be installed whether or not the chosen appliance is electric. Section 3 covers existing residential energy efficiency and is required if your project involves an addition or alteration with a permit value of $50,000 or more. To comply, your project will need to include one of the energy efficiency measures from Table 180.5-A, in addition to the state code requirements. Some of the energy efficiency options in the table include LED lighting throughout the home, R38 attic insulation, heat pump water heating, and induction cooking, to name just a few. Section 4 outlines requirements for solar photovoltaic or PV systems. Section 4A details the requirements for additions and alterations to high-rise multifamily buildings, defined as 4 stories or more. You will need to install a solar PV system if your high-rise project includes an addition that increases the roof area by 1,000 square feet or more, or is an alteration with a permit value of $1 million or more that affects at least 75% of the floor area. Follow the instructions in the checklist to specify which system sizing method you plan to use to comply. You can use either the gross floor area calculation method, outlined in the checklist, or the state code calculation method described in Section 170.2G of the state code. Section 4B outlines the requirements for solar PV systems for all new multifamily projects. All newly constructed multifamily buildings must install PV equipment according to the Title 24 Part 6 Energy Code requirements. Refer to Section 170.2G and complete Section 4B of the checklist to notify the city of the PV system installation size. Section 5, Electric Vehicle Charging, specifies the requirements for EV charging stations in new buildings as well as additions and alterations. For new construction, at least 15% of the total number of parking spaces must have Level 2 EV chargers, and at least 40% of the total number of parking spaces must have low-power Level 2 receptacles, which are receptacles on a 240-volt, 20-amp circuit. Finally, at least 40% of the spaces assigned to individual dwelling units must have low-power Level 2 receptacles connected to the unit's electrical meter. The final EV charging requirement applies to alterations or additions to parking facilities at existing multifamily buildings, where new spaces are added or where electrical or lighting systems are added or altered. This change will trigger the requirement that Level 2 EV chargers must be installed for at least 10% of the added or affected parking spaces. When going through the checklist, please ensure that all sections of the form are completed. If a requirement does not apply to your project, check the Not Applicable box and provide an explanation in the Justification section. Similarly, explain any request for exemption in the Justification section for the corresponding requirement and submit any necessary supplementary documentation. After completing the checklist, sign the affidavit at the end of the form and include the completed checklist as a plan sheet in your project's plan set to be submitted as part of your building permit application. We hope this helps you in navigating the multifamily CAP checklist. Select the following links for additional information and access to the checklist. If you have any questions completing the checklist, feel free to contact city staff at 760-633-2710 or email planning@encinitasca.gov. Thanks.